Across 13 centuries, Spain's rulers transformed a mountain refuge into a global kingdom. Pelayo's victory at Covadonga became the founding legend of Christian Asturias. Favila ruled only 2 years before, according to chronicles, a bear killed him. Alfonso I expanded Asturias and pushed its frontier toward Galicia and León. Fruela I strengthened royal authority and founded the settlement that became Oviedo. Aurelio's reign is remembered for suppressing an unusual uprising by dependent laborers. Silo moved the Asturian court to Pravia and maintained peace with Córdoba. Alfonso II briefly gained the throne, but Mauregato forced him into exile. Mauregato seized the crown, while later legend linked him to a controversial tribute. Bermudo I abdicated after military defeat and returned to life as a cleric. Restored, Alfonso II made Oviedo his capital and promoted Santiago's growing cult. Ramiro I repelled Viking raiders and commissioned remarkable buildings near Oviedo. Ordoño I repopulated frontier cities, including León, Astorga, Tui, and Amaya. Alfonso III expanded Asturias to the Douro before his son's forced abdication. Fruela II later united Asturias and León, but ruled the combined realm briefly. Alfonso IV entered a monastery, then failed violently to reclaim his crown.
Ramiro II shattered Córdoba's army at the decisive Battle of Simancas. Ordoño III survived noble revolts while continuing pressure against the caliphate. Sancho I, nicknamed the Fat, regained his throne after treatment in Córdoba. Ordoño IV held León briefly before losing support and fleeing to Córdoba. Restored again, Sancho I was reportedly poisoned during a Galician campaign. Ramiro III became king as a child and was eventually deposed by nobles. Bermudo II endured Almanzor's devastating sack of León in 988. Alfonso V restored León and issued its influential municipal charter in 1017. Bermudo III, León's last male dynast, died fighting Ferdinand at Tamarón. Ferdinand I united León and Castile, then divided them among his children. Sancho II reunited his father's lands by force, but was assassinated at Zamora. Alfonso VI captured Toledo in 1085, permanently changing Iberia's balance of power. Urraca became Europe's first reigning queen, but faced rebellion and a disastrous marriage. Alfonso VII was crowned Emperor of all Spain, then divided his kingdoms. Sancho III's one-year reign helped create the military order of Calatrava. Alfonso VIII recovered from Alarcos and triumphed at Las Navas de Tolosa. Henry I became king as a child and died in a roof tile accident. Berengaria surrendered Castile's crown to her son Ferdinand after only weeks as queen. Ferdinand III permanently united Castile and León and conquered Córdoba and Seville. Alfonso the Wise sponsored astronomy, history, and the monumental legal code Siete Partidas. Sancho IV defeated rival claimants and secured Castile's conquest of Tarifa. Ferdinand IV captured Gibraltar, while a dark legend inspired his ominous nickname. Alfonso XI won at Rio Salado, then died during the Black Death. Peter I's brutal civil war ended when his half-brother Henry killed him. Henry II founded Castile's Trastamara dynasty after defeating Peter in civil war. John I failed to conquer Portugal and died after falling from his horse. Henry III restored royal authority and sent Castilian ambassadors to conqueror Timur. John II patronized court culture but remained dominated by Álvaro de Luna. Henry IV's disputed succession ignited conflict between Joanna and Isabella's supporters. Isabella completed Granada's conquest, created the Inquisition, and sponsored Columbus's Atlantic voyage. Together, Isabella and Ferdinand joined two crowns and reshaped Spain's political future. Joanna remained queen in name, but spent nearly 46 years confined at Tordesillas. Charles I ruled Spain's global empire as Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Philip II made Madrid his court, annexed Portugal, and launched the Spanish Armada. Philip III delegated power to Lerma and expelled Spain's Moriscos in 1609. Philip IV patronized Velázquez while long wars weakened Spain's European dominance. Charles II died childless, triggering the War of the Spanish Succession. Philip V founded Spain's Bourbon dynasty and centralized government through Nueva Planta. Louis I reigned only 229 days before dying from smallpox at 17. Philip V returned after his son's death, becoming Spain's only twice-reigning king. Ferdinand VI preserved neutrality while reformers modernized finances, administration, and the navy. Charles III championed Enlightenment reforms and transformed Madrid's streets and institutions. Charles IV surrendered authority to Godoy before Napoleon shattered the Bourbon monarchy. Ferdinand VII abdicated under French pressure and spent the war in captivity. Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother, ruled from Madrid while Spanish resistance fought his occupation. Restored, Ferdinand abolished the liberal constitution, and his succession ignited the Carlist Wars. Isabella II's turbulent reign ended with the Glorious Revolution of 1868. Serrano governed as regent while Spain searched Europe for a replacement king. Amadeo I abdicated after 2 chaotic years, unable to stabilize Spanish politics. Figueras led the newborn First Republic, but mounting crises drove him into temporary exile. P. y Margal pursued a federal republic, resigning as cantonal rebellions spread. Salmerón resigned rather than approve death sentences imposed by military courts. Castelar strengthened central authority, but a parliamentary defeat opened the way for a coup. Serrano's authoritarian presidency ended when the Bourbon monarchy returned in 1874. Alfonso XII restored constitutional monarchy, but tuberculosis killed him at 27. Alfonso XIII was king from birth and left Spain when the Republic triumphed. Alcalá Zamora became the Second Republic's first president before Parliament removed him in 1936. Azaña led the wartime republic and died in French exile after Franco's victory. Franco ruled Spain as a dictatorship from Civil War victory until his death in 1975. Juan Carlos guided Spain's democratic transition and opposed the attempted coup of 1981. Felipe VI became king in 2014, pledging constitutional service and institutional renewal. Subscribe and tell us which country comes next.